Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It is great to be with you. Evening for me, and I think afternoon for Marité, who is calling in from Guatemala. And as you can see, we have some awesome people coming up across the next month. It is the 4th of May. So for all the Star Wars fans out there, I guess may the 4th be with you. And before we get Marité up on screen, I do have a few words from some community members. And the first one comes from Len, just saying Marité is a passionate, talented coach that brings out the best in others. I've worked with her during our coach certification and admire her empathetic approach. She bravely embraces new areas of knowledge and shapes solutions collaboratively with others. It is exciting to see the massive impact she has working with leaders. Nancy says, Marité is full of energy and I admire her humble heart. She is always ready to share and open to listening, making contributions with lots of experience. She is a great addition for any community, for OpenExO, and for me now, part of Women for Impact. Daniel said, I met Marité in 2013 and immediately made a trust connection, and we partnered to serve clients together in Central America, and since have helped hundreds of companies all over Latin America and Spain. I am amazed at her knowledge on scaling companies, especially on the people side, and her personal core values and determination to help the companies be successful. Marité is also my go-to person when I have any people-related matters at Growth Institute, and her advice has been instrumental to our success. And then lastly, from Karina, Marité is a big mind. She's an ExO champion in Guatemala and Mexico, where she inspires leaders and employees to take the leap and join the ExO movement. Her business savvy is complemented by her collaborative approach, empowering skills, and mastery of leadership. I love working with her. And so with that, I want to welcome up Marité. How are you doing this afternoon?
Good, thank you. Hi, Kevin, and very happy to listen about all those notes that you show. So it's great to listen what the community can tell you about the things that you do that you don't see the impact that it has. So thank you.
Absolutely. I think the one thing I really enjoy doing is finding out from our community who's working with who and what people are doing. Often it's not easy, and often I don't get everybody because there's so much going on and so many people are doing things, which is really amazing. And so for those people who've never heard of Marité, never seen you, can you share a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your background, and how you came to join the community?
Okay. Yes. Well, I'm a food engineer, and I work a lot with food companies at the beginning of my career. And also, I was a professor at the university, so it was like very fun. I love to learn and to show people how to learn. So it's part of my life since that moment. After that, I started working as a consultant for companies in most of the time in like quality and management, and also food safety programs for the companies. But then it started to like I started to evolve and to become more like expanding all my knowledge, and start coaching a lot of companies through some coaching certifications that I get for leaders, because I think that that's the way that you can expand and transform really and transcend in the companies and the society when you change and impact positively with the leaders. So that's one part of the things that I do through my career. How I started in ExO, it was like, well, this curiosity mindset that I have brings me to take the master class at Growth Institute. I'm partner of Daniel Marcos in Scaling Up, and for Guatemala and Central America, I work for companies in that model. So in Growth Institute, I'm taking the MBD, that is a Master Business Dynamics, and one of the classes that was in the list was EXO, and I think, okay, this sounds very interesting. So I started with the class at 2017, and then it was like, I love it. I think this is the way we can change the world. This is the way that we can go through the companies. The companies can grow a lot with the exponential mindset, and also with the abundance mindset, because I think in Latin America we have a lot of like limited mindset, thinking in a scarcity more than an abundance. So that's why I love it since I started reading it, the book, and then I take the coaching certification. That was the first one that you publicly announced, and it was amazing too. Sometimes the part of the sprint that it was a lot of technology. In that moment, I really don't know a lot of things of technology, so I was like, if I'm in the right place. It was out of my comfort zone completely. So in that moment, I start open my mind to all that stuff. So that's the way I get into EXO and the beautiful community that you have.
Absolutely. I actually think we were on the same course, the same Growth Institute course back in 2017, and it was quite a big cohort. So it was actually quite, connecting with people. I think that's the first time I met Kent, and I can remember, Salim coming on, and it was very late at night for me, but it was it was awesome. And then also the coach certification. And so, I mean, obviously with the EXO model, we all speak about the non-negotiable of an MTP, which can be equated to scaling up BHAG, right?
Yes.
And so many people actually have really strong purpose. I mean, that's one thing about our community. We have the purpose of transforming the world for a better future, and everyone's purposes sort of are different, and some people have more than one. But would you mind sharing what your personal MTP is?
Yes, no, I will love it. It's transform to transcend. And this purpose, well, it from when the first time that I said it, it was like transform goals into achievements for the companies, so they can transcend in society and impact society. That was like the long sentence, and that was my purpose in scaling up, because you have to define a purpose, and then the BHAG has a little bit. For me, the BHAG is like the MTP with the moonshot. It's like the mix of both. So in that moment, transform to transcend, it was one of the things that make me really enjoy and be passionate of each of the projects that I take, and of the programs that I develop. So that's my purpose.
Okay, yeah. So pretty much like every project you're actually doing, you're like, I am here to transform. Transform to
Yes.
transcend. So that ultimately, the people within this organization are going to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the transcending effect, because sometimes when you work in consultancy or in coaching, sometimes they ask you just for a goal that it's in the first level, that is like simple. But if you want to go deep and make something different and transform the organization and the people that works for it, you have to transcend in it. So that's why transcending means how you impact positively all the people that works in the organization or in the projects that I work for. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, as you were speaking about, I mean, ultimately, you know, MTPs are often like, um, you know, they real North Star. But in order to get there and to to drive you on that journey, having like moonshots, are important. And for you, you have this goal of like half a million people. What you know what made you think this is what I'm going to do? And you're pretty much on the way there, because it's by 2030, right? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Well, right now, let me tell you about the journey. How can I get
Yes.
into that goal? Because it begins with the MTP. So when I
Mm,
said, okay, I want to transcend, how can I measure that? The first thing that I thought, it was like, and I did it with my team, it was like, if we transform goals into achievements, let's measure the number of goals that are achieved. So when we start a project, is what goal we have and if we achieve that goal or not. But it was like, for me, it was more hard, not more hard, more in the part of transforming the goals, not in the transcendation. So I thought, okay, if I want to measure what is transcending, I have to measure with the people that are impacted from that program or from that project. So that's why I
mm,
started counting all the people that are impacted in each project that we made through these years. And also, it's um like the passion of it is like knowing that people are changing and are very grateful for doing that. So
mm,
through the years, my breakthrough to make that happen was, well, in 2002, I lost a child because I was pregnant and I eat something that was contaminated. And I was a food engineer professor in the university. So it was very hard for me in that moment to think, okay, this happens because there is a lot of people that don't know what to do to have good hygiene practices when you are making or processing foods. So I started thinking what I have to do so less people have the problems that I had and less people suffer from
mm.
something like that. So in that moment was like, okay, I have to do something. I'm a very, very achiever person or driven person. So in
Yes,
that
yes.
moment, I was thinking of that, and I started doing programs for companies, more of food safety programs, so they can change the way they processes the food, and also they can the people in the company learn. So the second
Mm,
breakthrough was I work one sugar mill. That's one of the industries here in Guatemala that had a lot of
mm,
employees. Asked me if I can train all the operational staff with good manufacturing practices. So
mm,
I thought in that moment, I can just let them know which are these practices, or I could help them change their mindset, know why, and if they know why, they can change their life and their families. So I started doing like
mm.
this program that it was very practical. It was more like a workshop. So I put them
Yeah.
like cook in front of everyone, and they have all these things, and at the end, there were 2,000 people in groups of 20, and some are 50 and that. So it was like at the end of each session, several people approached me and said, thank you. Now I know that I will tell my wife to wash her hands. And when you go more with low income people that doesn't have the resources and they never learn how to do it, it was amazing what they were learning. And it was so easy. It were 2 hours where I can teach them this. So in that moment, I said, I have to do more programs like this. And I have
Mm,
to impact more people in things that could change their lives. So in that moment was food safety. And then I start like growing in other methodologies, and I find all the in that moment I found coaching programs, and I realized that if you work with coaching, you are not working just in the upper level of learning, you working more deeper. So you change
Mm.
habits, you change behaviors. So that's why I love the coaching tools, and I started doing coaching. And I bring, in that moment I brought to Guatemala a certification and for coaching for a coaching certification. So there were like 150 people that certified from that. So that's a multiplier effect when you get
Yes.
into that. So there's when I start counting all the people, is like, okay, let's see if we can make it 500,000 to the 2030. So I'm in the way to that, and I'm trying to not trying. I'm doing different things. So I have
Mm.
7 years. So I have to work more in attributes that could let me do this exponentially. So that's part of the
Absolutely.
journey and where I'm right now.
Wow, that's really awesome. And as you were speaking, it took me back a little bit. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for quite a while, right? And of course, it's you have strict GMP, like good manufacturing practice guidelines, and as you said, so many of the people working in the factory just followed the rules because they were told to. And the one thing that I started doing was asking people, "Do you know why you're doing this?" And and a lot of the other management were like, why are you doing this? It doesn't matter. They must just follow the rules. And I said, no, but if they understand why, they can actually like use this, and it can be better. And then they can, it's not just about being told what to do. If you really understand it, you're then empowered to make sure it happens. Um, and so yeah, it just reminded me of
Yes.
that. And it's so important, right? To
Yes.
actually unlock, to positively impact people in these ways that other people don't even think is actually impactful. But it actually
Yes.
does impact people's lives.
Yes, yes. And to be so clear about that, and to be so clear about the my MTP, makes me like look for projects that really transcend. If some client
Mm,
asks me to do a program just because he needed to sell something, I said no, we have to make, usually in my programs, when it's a certification program, it's like you have to have part with more workshops so the people learn why, not just do
mm,
it. You have to learn why. And it's the power of why. You
yeah.
can have a lot of change with that. So it's part of all the programs that I do. It's part of the things that I really think about when I'm working with the companies.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you've worked with a fair amount of companies, across different industries, um, mostly across Central America. And how would you say sort of like the level of digitization is, and exponential thinking, and especially sort of over time, having been in the community for a fair amount of time,
Mhm.
like is there differences that you can see?
Yes, I think that, well, there is a big difference pre-COVID, post-COVID. It's like
Mm,
a big difference. At the beginning, well, we made a workshop here in Guatemala in 2019 before COVID, and it was amazing that a lot of companies. We have like 54 people in the workshop from different companies, and they were like amazed with all the things. They were like, wow, this could happen, what we have to do. And some of the companies start doing like an sprint inside the company. And I have a great example of one of them that make two businesses in the edge, and they really, well, now they are working on that. At the beginning it was like the deception part of the curve, but right now they are like doing and having results to be exponential. So
mm,
that's great to see that they have results about that. um, but really, what happens is that in pre-COVID, the people doesn't know a lot of things. And when you say exponential, it was like exponential, what that means. now I think that people know more what is exponential, because COVID was exponential, so it's easier to
Yeah.
explain. But also because the companies have to reinvent the way
Yeah.
they did things. And in COVID, they were like, now what we're gonna do? So I saw two things in this process. One is, let's do things to reach better our clients. So digitalization and all the technology comes more from like the client side, so we can do something for them, and we won't die if they have us in the spot. So that's why I think that digital marketing, sales, all that stuff was like very important in that moment. So then post COVID, it was okay. Now what I do, what I'm gonna do, and one of the things that they realized is that in COVID, one of the results that the companies has was that they were more efficient, and they have more profit and rentability from their new way of doing things. They have like permission to take out of the company all the people that doesn't have good work, all the CM players. They say, okay, they can have to go. So now they have like this lean company working very well, but need to grow. So how can we do it? So right now, I think that they are more focused on the digital transformation. That's the way everyone says. I think that not all the companies realize what that means. They have to learn more. Sometimes they think it's just like, well, let's say implement an ERP, SAP or something like that in our company, and now we are digital transformation. No, you have some digital transformation, but that's not digital transformation. So they have to learn more about that, and that's the part that I think we can bring to the companies. It's like really make transformation of your organization right now, that you have. Then it's necessary for you. You must do it, and also it will bring you, or it will help you maintain this profit or this growing that you're having right now.
No,
Yes.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
and and in terms of, implementing EXO, and and the model and the attributes,
Mhm.
do you see your clients looking at leveraging the attributes?
Yes, yes, they are looking to leverage the attributes, and usually what I did, or what works better when I'm working with them, I have a big bunch of clients of scaling up methodology. And what I did is like a merge through between scaling up and EXO. So when is the right moment to look to EXO and to see what I have to do? It's when you make like the annual planning. And also when you are looking, EXO scaling up has like the 3-year plan. I know that EXO
Yeah.
doesn't have a 3-year plan, but what I usually did with the companies is, okay, if you are looking where you want to be, or how you look at the in 3 years, then you go back and say, okay, now what I have to do. So if I look this way, or if I grow 10x in 3 years, maybe, uh, if you say that, it's like, okay, what different things I have to do. So there we have to learn more about the attributes and choose,
Yes.
maybe like we make like the EXO canvas exercise. So they choose which attributes are better and can impact most, but also not just the EXO canvas, also an analysis of the information and the technologies streams that they have or they need to make this happen. So it's very interesting, because usually when you say, or when the companies say digital transformation, they just think in the way they are doing the processes, but they don't think in exponential technology. So they have to learn more about exponential technology. And one of the best exercises is like, you have to like explore for 4 hours. Don't go, don't quit 4 hours exploring technologies, exploring new models, exploring, and that makes them like realize all the things that are happening out there. So that's the best way to implement it with this type of companies, is that way. And I think that they start opening their mind they start shifting their mind from scarcity to abundance, and they start like realizing that they need to implement more things for the company to change their culture. So that's why, like, going in that way, it's easier than what I feel sometimes is that they are very afraid to make a sprint at the beginning. So when I did it that way, it's like I understand right now that this could help me, and in that moment I start on a sprint. But before that, it's like they have to awake to all the things that are helpful for the company and for the growing that they want. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I must say, I really do. I love the fact that we actually have quite a lot of scaling up coaches who all intertwine EXO with the scaling up methodology, because they do dovetail so nicely, right? It's not like the one contradicts the other. They can work so well together. Which I think is, the one thing about EXO is that it is that sort of, I guess, a bit of an umbrella that you can then look towards in terms of the way you're leveraging the attributes.
Yes. And when the company already has a scaling up, implemented the scaling up like for 3 years, you see an execution culture. So it's easier when you make a sprint and you make it happen, because they have like these habits that help them do it better. If not, it's just like, well, let's do an exercise, and sometimes they lose their track on the sprint and their track on implement or launching the product or everything. So that's why I think that it's very helpful when you have like an execution program before.
Absolutely. Now, as I said before, Marité, the time is just going to disappear, and that's pretty much what's happened. But before I let you go, I do want to just ask, for those, what is that one thing that you always want people to know? The one thing, if people just took one thing away, what is that?
Okay, I think, well, I will say two things. Well, one is like, have a clear purpose. If you have a clear purpose, it's like your anchor to look for new things to make that happen, and put a goal to that MTP. Put a moonshot. Define your moonshot. It's very important, so you can start working on that. And don't think that you have to do the completely different things. You can start doing simple things that could have a very high impact. So that's why, like, this part, it's very important. 3 steps: your purpose, your MTP, your moonshot, and start doing something. It's like super important. And the other thing, and the part of that, it's like, this is a quote from Madre Teresa that says, never let anyone come to you without coming away being better and happier. So it's part of my philosophy. So it's like, okay, every person that comes to me could be better if talks to me, if someone. So it's part of doing something for the world. That's one of the things. And the other thing is, we all have the opportunity to create something. Right now, I'm like creating a program thinking about exponential organizational cultures. How can we create a culture in the company that could be exponential? And I think that that's super important for Latin America, because we have to change the mindset. And Salim in the new book has like these 7 mindsets that Peter Diamandis defined for exponential mindset. So it's very important, or for exponential implementation, organizations implementation. So it's very important to work on that. So everyone has the opportunity to do something better and to share it with the community. So I think that we are in a moment that we are better than ever. So we are in a moment that we can share and be better than now. So that's my 2 things that I can share with the community.
Awesome. It's so great chatting to you, Marité. And as I said beforehand, I am looking forward to to spending more time in Central America. Never gone south of Mexico, so it was really great chatting to you, and I do hope that I get to meet you in person one day. It's been a long time that we've known each other.
That will be great. Just tell me, and we will set a tour for you here in Guatemala.
Amazing. Thank you,
Okay.
Marité, and have a fantastic afternoon.
And thank you for letting me share with all the community some of of my thoughts on my life. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So great chatting to Marité. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you all again next week.